Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production.
Roll sound.
Rolling.
Sound production. Take 2.
Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? Now, we're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Or, your father was right. You were an idiot, and everything you watched was stupid. So buckle up, movie aficionados. Over-the-top gore? Check. Over-embellished action? Check. Gratuitous nudity? Double check. Storylines so absurd you could drive a semi-truck through those plot holes. Oh yeah, some of those movies didn't even know what a movie plot was. And that's the way we liked it. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
All right. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. It is Halloween, and we have had a bumpy road to get here. This has not been as good as last year. Last year was amazing amount of horror movies. This year, not so much.
I'm very disappointed.
Yeah, but we are about to preview House on Haunted Hill and House on Haunted Hill. First, we're going to do the preview for 1999. What do you remember about the 1999?
Okay, I remember a lot of it because I watched the crap out of this movie.
Yeah, I watched it a few times back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, like I went to town with it. Really
all
great
of the
cast.
Castle Rock ones.
Yeah.
He made this one.
Oh my
yeah.
god. I watched the
Yeah,
film multiple
fantastic
times.
cast.
Fantastic cast. It's quirky and weird and funny. There is a lot of like gross and uncomfortable stuff in it.
Yeah.
It also makes me want to live in an asylum that has been converted into a private home. These are the things I want in my life. It's fun and it's weird. And I love it, and I remember a lot of it. Like the stuff that happens in the basement, everybody fighting to get out. Famke Janssen plays one of the best, like just bitchy trophy wives I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome.
She's fantastic in this. And Peter Gallagher's in it with his super impressive eyebrows.
Yep.
Love him. And
Jeffrey
Jeffrey Rush, so good. And then you got like Tate Diggs, Ali Larder, like all the people who, Chris Kattan. I
Yep.
forgot about him for a hot second. But basically everybody who made movies from like the 90s and the 2000s, super entertaining, is pretty much in it. Lisa Loeb plays I forgot about her for a hot second. I was like, oh my god, that's right. She is the reporter. The one, because this Jeffrey Rush plays the owner of like basically horror themed amusement parks.
Yep. Yeah,
And
I
that's how he
remember
made
that.
his money. Yeah. So like I remember actually a disturbing amount about this movie. God, wow.
Yeah,
It's been a little while since I've seen it, but apparently not that long. What do you
yeah.
remember?
Well, I remember. Well, the 80s was all about gore and slashers and zombie. Like a lot of different things. 90s was, I'm not gonna say tame, but there weren't as many horror movies in the 90s, and they weren't. There were a lot of great ones, don't get me wrong, but there weren't as many. And 1999 started with the CGI, I believe The Haunting.
Yes.
And then Castle Rock came out, and this is the movie they started with, The House on Haunted Hill, and then they did 13 Ghosts and
Mhm.
Ghost Ship and stuff like that. And there's a sequel to this one. I don't know if I've seen it, but there is
There
a sequel.
is?
Yeah, I bought it on Prime because they're on sale.
My
For
God.
those listening, I don't know when this comes out, if the sale's still on, but you can either rent it for $4 or you can buy it for $4 for this
wow.
one and the sequel. Actually, a whole bunch of horror movies. I bought because I bought all 8 of the Friday 13th.
Yeah.
I got a good deal on them. I scoured for Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X and Freddy vs. Jason.
Mhm.
I am not paying $40 each for a Blu-ray. So they were on sale for $4 too. So yeah, it's a great Halloween sale on Prime.
As of right now, this sale was still on. I'm gonna
It's
come back to this. Oh, they've got everything.
yeah, they got a ton of movies for sale. Like good horror movies. I think I bought like Salem's Lot, I bought a bunch of them. I bought a stupid amount. I'm probably gonna get in trouble
I'm
when my
probably gonna
wife
buy
finds
13
out.
Ghosts, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Love that
I
one.
can't remember if I bought that one or not. Yeah, when my wife finds out,
You're in so much trouble.
yeah, I think I bought like 15 of them.
But always frame it like, but babe, it's for date night.
Yeah, she hates horror movies. But she fucking loathes them.
Amazing.
But yeah, so
Well,
1999 and for the first little bit of the
yeah,
2000s, this is what horror was, and it was just before, and it kind of segued into they called it what a torture
yeah,
porn, where we
torture
got
porn.
Hostel and Saw and all those ones. This was like the what led to that. So, but if you grew up in the early 2000s watching horror movies, it was styled CGI, big well named actors like Jeffrey Rush just won a Oscar for Shine, I think in '97.
Yeah,
And same with what did we watch? We watched Ghost Ship. A lot of big actors in that movie as well.
yeah.
So that's the beginning of the '90s started off. End of the '90s started off in the beginning of the 2000s. These movies were, and I remember them being great. It has been a while. I do remember some of the stuff that you like. It
Yeah.
starts and then they all split up and they start seeing things and it gets weirder and weirder. I don't know how scary it is, but I remember it being really cool.
I think a lot of the images were really cool, and I
Yeah,
also think on top of that, a lot of the stuff was very uncomfortable because a lot of the stuff that they depicted had happened to, like, actual patients in real life. Like, it wasn't that far out of the realm of possibility, which I think adds a creep factor to it. Do I think the movie is super scary all over? No.
no.
I
But it
don't
doesn't
remember it being
horror movies
scary.
don't have to be scary. They just have to be fun.
I feel like horror movies, for it to actually achieve horror status, like real horror status, it just has to put you on edge.
Yeah.
It has to make you take second looks at things. It has to make you uncomfortable to be in certain places or around certain things. Like, that's it. I think that's horror's main goal, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
And when a horror movie's like that and scary as shit,
Mhm.
that's a bonus.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's take a look at the box office for House on Haunted Hill, 1999. Released October 29th. Okay, yeah, better. It opened in LA on the 27th, 1999, with a budget of 19 million. That's pretty big for a horror movie.
It is.
Domestic, 40.8 million, international 1.7 for 42.5 million. So
That's
this is
decent.
what to kickstart horror movies. People wanted to go to the theater and watch horror movies.
Mhm.
It opened at number one with 15.9 million. It dropped to second place the following weekend with 7.7. It then dropped to eighth and 12th place, respectively, as holiday movies started rolling out, like Sleepy Hollow, The World's Not Enough, Dogma, Toy Story 2, End of Days, Green Mile, Stuart Little, and Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo. See, then, there's the other one. And that's what you get when you open just at the end of October. You're right
Yeah.
around the corner from the Christmas.
Yep, because right around Thanksgiving, US Thanksgiving is when the Christmas movies really start to make a push.
Yeah. And your movie is pushed
Ditched.
aside.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Tale of the Tape. Like I said, October 27th, limited, and then 29th, 1999. It is a horror, straight up horror, rated R, a nice 1 hour and 36 minutes.
Perfect time.
There's our VHS copy. 1999, VHS was still very prevalent.
Yes, it was.
Do you know how much VHS movies are going for now? If you have like a sealed copy of
I'm
certain
terrified to
movies,
know.
thousands and thousands of dollars. And like, why?
Really?
It's not like records where they sound amazing. VHS still looks like shit.
That's
Oh,
true, but
look.
I have heard people buying VCRs to watch VHS. I'm like, dude, just convert to DVDs.
Yeah, like if you have home video, yeah, even if you have home videos, convert it. Yeah,
Convert
it's
it.
not like you're going, oh my god, this is amazing. You're gonna be like, the sound fucking sucks. It's
Yeah.
grainy as shit. It's where's the rest of the picture? It's a square.
Also, so easy to get damaged with that ribbon.
Yeah, and no one fucking rewinds them.
Nope.
That was the worst when you did get a movie, even from Blockbuster the odd time, you'd rent it, go
Yeah.
home. Sometimes like they didn't check it. Usually they did check it when they were renting it, but they didn't. You go home and it wasn't rewound. Oh, that sucks so bad because you had to wait 5-10 minutes for the thing to rewind. You're like,
Damn,
you
how long were the movies you
dicks.
were watching?
Yeah, it wasn't
Or
that long.
more accurately, how shitty was your VCR? Yeah, no, it was annoying because you go to put it in and you're like, crap. So then you got to wait until it rewinds all the way. Usually it's about 2 minutes,
Yeah.
depending on how long the movie is. God forbid you get something like Titanic, which was on 2 VHS tapes.
Oh, could you? Yeah.
Ah, so annoying. Anyways,
All right. Taglines. 6 strangers have the chance to make $1 million each. All they have to do is make it through the night alive.
no, that's a shitty tagline. A great summary of the
Of the
story.
movie, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're in, you may not want to get out. I thought that was confusing. I think if you're in, you may want if you see what's going on, you're probably going to want to get the fuck out.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
in, you will want to get out. That would
Yeah.
probably make more sense.
Are you dying to be rich?
That's fucking fantastic.
It's going to be a long night.
Also fantastic.
Evil loves the party.
I mean, cheesy.
Yeah, it's cheesy, but yeah.
It's cheesy, kind of funny. But I mean, I'm not mad at it.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all we need.
Synopsis. Rich oddball Frederick Lauren has a proposal for 5 guests at a possibly haunted mansion. Show up, survive a night filled with scares, and receive $10,000 each. The guest of honor is Lauren's estranged wife, Annabelle, who, with her secret lover, Dr. Trent, has concocted her own scheme to scare Lauren's associates, Nora Manning, into shooting the potentially crazy millionaire. However, more spooks and shocks throw a wrench into the plan. That was $1 million.
I thought it was $1 million too. And then I thought it was like 5 checks. And then whoever doesn't survive, their check gets.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
Okay.
remembering this from a different movie.
Here's the original movie poster. 6 strangers have the chance to make $1 million each. All they
There
have
you
to
go.
do is make it through the night alive. That's on the top. Bloody handprint within the palm is our main actors. Ty Diggs, Jeffrey Rush at the back. What's his name? Chris Kattan,
Pam.
Ali Larder, and oh crap, I can't remember her name.
Oh, wait, give me
Uh,
a hot second. And I've got Bridget Wilson.
Bridget Wilson and Femke Jensen or Jansen.
Famke Janssen.
Famke is
I
not
think it's
there,
Famke Janssen.
and neither is
be-
what's his name.
Yeah.
That's an all right poster. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not the greatest poster.
Not the greatest, but I mean, it would
It's
look
all right.
cool on your bedroom wall.
Yeah.
Eh.
All right. Rotten Tomatoes. None of these movies are well received.
I do not doubt that.
62 critic reviews comes in at 31%, and 50,000 audience reviews liked it a little better at 42%.
Expected.
Yeah, critics' consensus: unsophisticated and unoriginal film fails to produce scares.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah. All right, you may start with the positive.
Does everything a remake should do? Take the concept of the original and do something new with it. The CGI is atrocious, but it's a campy, gory, and a fun time. But it's a campy, gory, and a fun time. Trace Thurman, Horror Queers podcast, 3.5 out of 5. Trace, we need to talk about your writing.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not, it's a campy gory. And I'm wondering too, because back in 1999, the CGI was awesome. I remember it being awesome.
Yeah.
Now it's been a while. CGI
I
might not be
mean,
awesome anymore.
it was awesome for 1999. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah. See? Trace gets it. The queers get it. Fuck you people. House on Haunted Hill has a great first act and a handful of decent moments, making it worth a watch, especially if you were weaned on 90s horror. Anthony Arrigo, Dread Central, 3.5 out of 5.
Thank you, Anthony. To compensate for any real spooks, there are some solid gore effects and stellar set pieces. Felix Vasquez Jr., cinema crazed.
House on Haunted Hill isn't a great movie. It is, however, a good deal of gory fun. Ken Hankey, Mountain Express, 3.5 out of 5. There you
I
go,
agree,
Ken.
Ken. It's a cheesy throwaway horror flick, but it's a tight cheesy throwaway horror flick. Rob's movie vault B minus.
Yeah, and that's See,
Yeah.
that's what I remember. It's one of the great underrated horror flicks of the last decade. Yes, really. David Cornelius, efilmcritic.com, 5 out of 5.
Interesting, David. Interesting.
All right, here come the crappy ones.
Quarts of shiny blood are splashed around and numerous moans and groans pepper the soundtrack, but astonishingly, the movie never manages to provoke so much as a shudder. James Sanford, Kalamazoo Gazette, 0 out of 4.
Wow, James.
James
Fucking
is so
Kalamazoo.
harsh.
There's a great deal of general creepiness, but the enterprise is undercut by a weak script, weak characters, and a too simple plot. Ron Wells, Film Threat, 2.5 out of 5.
Sometimes I think simple plots are underrated.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice just to
It doesn't
not
have to
have
be
to think a
complicated.
lot.
Yeah.
I appreciate it sometimes.
The House on Haunted Hill is a meandering mess of stuck together scare tactics, none of which work. Liz Braun, Jam Movies.
Moments of effective horror pop up on a semi regular basis, but they are not enough to offset the increasingly tedious feel. Edward Johnson Ott, Nouveau News Weekly, 2.5 out of 5.
Interesting. Trading genuine chills for cheesy computer generated effects, this house should have been condemned. E staff, E online. And they graded it a D.
A D.
Oh.
Watching House on Haunted Hill is like going to a restaurant where the food looks delectable but tastes awful. Dustin Putman, thefilmfile.com, 1.5 out of 4.
It's a little harsh.
Yeah.
House on Haunted Hill is not only never scary, it's never even interesting. Rob Blackwelder, Spliced Wire, 1 out of 4. Wow, Rob.
Jeffrey Rush shamelessly overacts with a vengeance in this chillingly awful movie, which leaves us with one nagging question. Can Oscars be recalled? Steve Rhodes, Internet Reviews, 0.5 out of 4.
That feels more insulting than 0 out of 4.
Yeah. Yeah, the 0.5, that's like a big middle finger to your face.
Yeah.
61,000 user ratings comes in at, here we go, 5.6 out of 10. That's where
Okay.
your horror movies
Yep.
usually, if they're not bad, that's where they come in. Don't be afraid of a 5 out of 10 for a horror movie.
Yeah.
When
Embrace
you get a
those.
2 or a 3, maybe not watch it. We've had a couple of those.
Yeah, they were not a good time.
Leprechaun. You may go.
Sorry, this is my favorite horror movie. 10 out of 10, TJ Older.
Oh, yes. I like this film. 9 out of 10, Dorian Wynn Howells.
One of the most entertaining horror movies. 8 out of 10, Zed Spiewau. Yeah,
Sure. Cheap and trashy, but strangely entertaining. 7 out of 10, Adam IMDb.
Enjoyable to a degree. 6 out of 10, Hey Sweden.
Fuck you, Sweden. Fantastic until the Shadows' shitty CGIs. I think that has to do with the end.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't look very good now. 5 out of 10, Fire-Eyed Boy 1.
A horror to endure. 4 out of 10, Quinn, 1974.
Started badly, went very badly, and finished atrociously. 3 out of 10, Old Rose.
I was a bright spark of light before this curse of a movie was brought upon my television. 2 out of 10, Welshie 0223.
They should pay you $1 million to sit through this movie. 1 out of 10, Stephen?
Oh my God, that's Steven backwards.
It is the backwards, isn't it? I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah. Nippet Steven.
Nepet Stephen. Why aren't you clever, dick? Oh, right. We went through the box office. We went through the taglines, synopsis. We even looked at the reviews. Let's watch. Did I get it ready?
I don't know.
I did.
Yay.
And it's a Scream Factory. Here we go. Oh, I forgot to click share. My bad. My bad. I was watching it myself.
I was wondering when it was going to pop up.
Oh. Share. There we go.
This Halloween, 6 strangers have been invited to a party. If they can stay up till dawn, they'll win $1 million each. The only catch is that they'll have to live through the night.
Let the games begin.
It's in there. Hey, I think I got something.
Open the door!
Stephen, are you doing this?
No.
There we go. What are your predictions?
Not the greatest of trailers, but I think I am actually going to genuinely love this movie.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna like it too. It
Yeah.
looks fine. It looks. That's an old trailer
Yeah.
too, like quality wise.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be better than not than I remember it, because I remember loving this movie. But I mean,
Yeah, it
I
might
think
not
I'm
be
going to
that
really
good.
like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna like it too. So we are going to go watch House on Haunted Hill 1999, and when we come back, we are going to review it. Which brings us to House on Haunted Hill 19. I do think I've seen it. I'm
Mhm.
not 100% sure I've seen this movie. I think I have. I'm a huge Vincent Price fan. I do
Yeah.
like his movies. So I'm pretty sure I have seen it. I do not remember a lot of this movie. So this is all I know it has Vincent Price in it. I know it was by what's his name, Castle, the director who was famous for putting things on strings. So when you're watching the
Yes.
movie, that ghost flies by and stuff like that. Very gimmicky. I think they made a movie about him starring John Goodman, Matinee.
Mm.
I think that was based on him. I'm not 100% sure. But do you remember anything about?
Okay. So when I realized The Haunting and House on Haunted Hill were remakes, like the ones from the 90s were remakes, I was like, "Oh, let me go watch the originals." So I went to watch the 1959 one. This is where they get the $10,000. And I watched the oh god, I can't remember The Haunting what year it was. But I might be confusing them both
Mm,
because I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, 1963.
was
Um they're kind of very similar movies. So I was like, "Well, shit." But I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I remember a lot of flying skeletons. I remember people like there was some like creepy things. I enjoyed it just because I was like, "Well, shit, this is what a horror movie in like 1959 looks like." And Vincent Price.
yeah,
So
yeah.
awesome.
And I love 40s, 50s, 60s. Well, I like
Mm.
70 movies, but I can turn on Turner Classic Movies or Silver Screen Channel
Yeah.
and watch whatever's on there. Even if it's halfway through, I can just sit and watch. I really do like older movies.
Yeah.
They're just something about them. Maybe it's because it is a time not we never even existed in. It seems very magical because I was never there and so long
Yeah.
ago. Not sure. But this movie had a budget of $200,000 and it made a
Oh,
total of $2.5 million. Doesn't sound very good, but that's not bad. That's a lot of money in
that
19.
is a lot of money. Also, $200,000 for a budget is ginormous.
Yeah, it's pretty big,
In the late 50s, that's a
especially for a
solid
horror
amount.
movie.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, they have some pretty good people kind of pulling it in. Vincent Price was a fucking classic at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a 15 times multiplier. Movies today are
Yeah.
hoping to get 3 times multiplier. Of course, they
But
have a bigger budget, $200,000.
so true, but they also spend a lot more money on like social media and
Yeah.
marketing and all of that. This would have had built-in marketing because it's almost like the studio had like a communal budget for marketing and stuff. So you always piggybacked it off the backs of the other movies you were releasing.
And that's the only information I got from the box office. Tale of the tape is it was released on February 17th. Again, Jesus Christ. This is where it started. Ground
I'm
zero.
so mad about that.
1959. It is a horror. It's rated R. That can't be right. It's an hour and 15 minutes. That is right.
That is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. I just want to double check that it can't be rated R.
It wouldn't have had a rating from that time.
Actually, I think it didn't have a rating. Now that you said it. Nope, no rating. It's not rated. I'm pretty sure it's pretty tame compared.
Yeah.
It might be atmospheric.
I think it is pretty tame. Yeah, there's definitely atmosphere. They're not doing gore at that point.
No. Okay, so here are the taglines. Get ready.
Oh, Lord.
It's 1959. See it with someone with warm hands.
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
I guess so they're alive,
Yeah,
not
okay.
cold hands. The doors are locked at midnight.
That feels incomplete.
Yeah. The 13 greatest shocks of all time.
That means nothing to me.
No, I think it's they had 13 shocks at the movie theater while you were watching it.
Yeah,
Consult your doctor, bring your seatbelts.
that's so fucking stupid.
First film with the amazing new Wonder Emergo. The thrills fly right into the audience.
But why? Why?
The 13 greatest shocks ever seen.
No,
Acclaim the super shocker of the century.
no.
Oh, no pleasing
Those
you.
were terrible.
Here's the synopsis. I have a feeling I read this movie synopsis. Yeah, I did. But it's kind of the same.
Oh. Yeah, I mean,
Rich oddball Frederick Lauren has a proposal for 5 guests at a possibly haunted mansion. Show up, survive the night filled with scares, and receive $10,000 each. The guest of honor is Lauren's estranged wife, Annabelle, who, with her secret lover, Dr. Trent, has concocted her own scheme to scare Lauren's associate, Nora Manning, into shooting the potentially crazy millionaire. However, more spooks and shocks throw a wrench into the plan. For those listening, I read this for the 1999 version. It's not right, but it kind of has the same gist. Instead of 10,000, they get 1,000,000.
honestly, this is more. They're both very, very similar story wise and also character wise. Like,
Yeah.
and who's represented in there. So, I mean, it's not that far off.
Yeah, because when we watch the Jeffrey Rush has a very Vincent Price thing going on.
100%.
Yeah. All right, here's the original movie poster. Very 50s.
So 50s.
For those listening, it's just a skeleton holding a noose with a woman hanging in it, a mansion with gates. There's a guy below. I don't know what he's doing, drowning somebody or
Yeah. Oh my God, that's right.
yeah.
There's a vat of something that someone drowns in this movie.
Yeah, and House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price, Carol Olmart, Richard Long. That's a very, very 50s poster.
Yes.
I'm sure in 1959 you'd be looking like, oh my God.
Oh, this would have been amazing in 1959. You would have been like, let me get one of those.
All right, let's see if they think it's as shitty as the 1999 one. 44 critic reviews comes in at 80%. Nope.
Wow.
They like this one a lot better. 10,000 audience reviews comes in at 73%.
Dang.
Critic consensus is campy by modern standards, but spooky and atmospheric. House on Haunted Hill is a fun, well-executed cult classic featuring a memorable performance from genre icon Vincent Price.
Well, this excites me.
Yeah. All right. Well, you may start with the positive.
William Castle's 1959 B movie horror classic retains its goofy charm with a litany of gimmicky sight gags that, however tame by today's standards, keep their childish appeal. Cole Smithy, colesmithy.com, 4 stars.
One of William Castle's best gimmicky film with a delicious performance from Vincent Price. Kevin Carr, Fat Guys at the Movies, 3 out of 4.
It's so spooky, even spooks are spooked. David C. Vincent, Tampa Bay Times.
No, don't do that.
Don't do that, David.
That's so cheesy. Some I would say. House on Haunted Hill proves that if it is fun to be fooled, it is even more fun to be thoroughly frightened. Win Fanning, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
It's a lesson in classic horror led by the master himself, Vincent Price. Keith Garlington, Keith in the Movies, 4 out of 5.
As campy fun, this one is timeless, expertly executed, and still delivers its fave thrills and worldly laughs. Dennis Schwartz Movie Reviews, A.
Silly, but good fun. TV Guide staff, TV Guide, 3 out of 4.
And I put this one in because I think that's the first TV Guide one that was a positive review that we've ever seen.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know. Usually TV Guide doesn't like the stuff that we pick.
Yeah, no. All right, you may start with the rotten.
The only shocking thing about this film is its utter ineptness. Charles Stinson, Los Angeles Times.
The device, however, is more ludicrous than exciting. As a haunted house yarn, the film rates fair, but no higher. Clyde Gilmore, Maclean's Magazine.
A far from classic misfire from an exceedingly erratic director. David Newser. The Real Film Reviews, 2 out of 4. Damn, David.
It couldn't cure a child's hiccups.
Oh my God.
Newsweek staff, Newsweek. IMDb. 32,000 user ratings, comes in at 6.7.
Not bad.
All right, you may start.
About as scary as a sock puppet, but great fun to watch. 10 out of 10. Zbigniew Krzyzewski?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm going to haunt anybody, this would certainly be the house I do it in. 9 out of 10, Reese Ferlance.
Vincent Price is outstanding. 8 out of 10, The Void.
Full of plot holes, but so what? 7 out of 10, Pritchard's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hokey hysteria, fun if approached in the proper spirit. 6 out of 10, Moonspinner 55.
Very dated, low budget, simple and crude special effects. 5 out of 10, Katharina, Sweden. See, fuck you, Sweden.
1959.
Yeah, what'd you want them to do? Saw? Vincent Price just fucking chopping people up.
House on Boring Hill, 4 out of 10, Couchzilla.
What a silly movie. It should have been named Plot Hole. 3 out of 10, Le Poison.
Le Poisson.
Le Poisson, 1.
Vincent Price tries to be scary in this lame murder mystery. 2 out of 10, West 54. I feel like Vincent Price should like come and haunt this guy. Just saying.
Yeah, and there was only 2 out of 10s.
Yeah.
Dull and stupid. 1 out of 10, Preppy 3.
Damn.
All right.
A little harsh.
Now, I have not checked out a preview or a trailer. I hope it's not one of those ones where we just get titles and taglines and all right.
Probably
This
will.
one is from Rotten Tomatoes, I think. Oh, geez, they have it here. Timeless classic movies, the whole movie.
Oh, wow.
All right, so let's share this time. Yes, yes. Oh, here we go.
I'm Vincent Price, and you're invited to my party in the house on Haunted Hill, where so far the ghosts have murdered only 7 people. So won't you come and make it 8? You'll see human heads without bodies. Mysterious pools of blood dripping from the ceiling. The walls move slowly in against you. Don't try to escape, you can't. You ready?
No.
Are you ready, dear?
Yes. Damn you.
The ghosts are waiting, so won't you join me in the house on Haunted Hill? Hurry, or you'll be late for your own funeral.
I'm
That was
so excited
awesome.
for this.
What are your predictions?
I think I'm going to love it. I think it's going to be a campy, over the top, just extra movie, and I'm excited to watch it again. It has been a very, very long time since I've seen this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks so silly, but like I love old movies. I love Vincent Price. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
gonna be. I think it's gonna be fun. I mean, is it gonna be scary? No, but it should be fun.
I want to see how they build like the atmosphere and like how are they going to make it creepy? Because I can't remember specifically any of that. But also, the house that they use for the exteriors in this movie, that house was actually for sale. Oh God, I think 5 or 10 years ago,
Hmm.
and
How
it
much?
needed some restoration. It was like 8 or 11 million. It was somewhere in there, which was I was like, that's a steal. And I was obsessed with that house, but then somebody bought it and they're restoring like all of the bricks. It's an architecturally important like building. So I was like, oh, so I remember loving that house forever. And they use it a lot in films and TV. It was in Blade Runner. They also used it on the TV show Angel.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And now, on with the show.
Ooh, wasn't that scary, kids?
No, not really.
No, 1959 horror and 1999 horror and technical difficulties.
Yeah.
I was gonna try to fix it, and then I'm like, you know what? We were like 32 seconds.
Yeah, it was
We're gonna
fine.
review this. So I'm like, you know what? Just fucking play it. Okay, so did you watch 1959 and 1999 House on Haunted Hill?
I did indeed.
And what are your initial thoughts?
They were a good time. They were both silly in different ways. Um, they were both fun. They both had interesting casts. Uh, it was I was thoroughly engaged in both of them. Like I wasn't bored and I wasn't looking for entertainment elsewhere. And yeah, no, it was a good pick for me at least. Your initial thoughts?
99 wasn't as gory as I remember, not as
Mm,
violent as I remember it being, but this is 1999. They were for a time that they were gory and like the
yeah.
reviews were like all gore, no substance, violent over story, that type of stuff. And while I do believe these movies, House on Haunted Hill and 13 Ghosts and Ghost Ship at the time were gory and violent. And they are really, they are, and they
Yeah.
laid the foundation for what was coming. But after what came, this was pretty tame.
Yeah. Like it was funny because I actually had this thought. I was like, okay, technically they're both horror movies, but
Yeah.
I was never horrified.
No,
Like I was never like scared. I was
no.
never freaking out. I was engaged. I enjoyed it. I was entertained, but I wasn't like, "Oh god, that's oh."
Yeah, no, yeah, and because like just around the corner, Saw, Conjuring, freaking
Yeah.
Terrifier. These weren't
Apparent
even a thing yet.
there was a vote that was recently taken about the scariest movie. And The Conjuring won. I
The
don't
Conjuring
remember what but
freaked
Conjuring
me
was
out.
terrifying. Yeah, freaked me out
Yeah,
too.
the
Mhm.
ghost movie, yeah, stuff like that, and they say, "Well, it's a true story." I'm like, "Ugh,
Yeah.
whatever." And
When it
then
was
you're
like
alone in
based
the house and shit moves. You're like, "Oh fuck!" And you wake up one of your kids. Go check something down. Go get me a loaf of bread out of the basement. I'll see if they come back.
wake up one of your kids.
Uh, I need
Dude,
a
not
loaf
even
of
just
bread.
send one of them, wake them up in the middle of the
Yeah,
night. Go make me a sandwich.
yeah. Go get some. You want an ice cream? Go get some ice cream downstairs. 20 minutes later, I think there might be a ghost down there. Or wait a minute, maybe they're eating ice cream down there. Wake up
That's probably
another
what's
kid.
happening. Yeah.
Get another kid. Keep sending them down. And it had like there was gore. The gore was great. The blood looked
Yeah.
great. A few plot holes. We're still in the 90s, happy endings, and even in horror movies. It was very nostalgic.
Mhm.
The 1950, I watched the black and white one.
Same.
It was 50s horror right from the beginning, from the talking to people in the audience. But I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah, I really for the 1959, I really enjoyed the choice of music and scoring on it because I'm like, that's what's giving us the atmosphere.
Yeah,
That
that's
and
what
it
made it
is
actually creepy
yeah,
for
it
a
was
1959 movie. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, if you don't like older movies, like if you do not enjoy movies from like the 40s, the 50s, and even no, not the 60s, probably the 30s, but if you don't like movies of that generation, then you won't like this, period.
Yeah.
However, if you like movies and you like classic movies, this is perfect for you.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
Fantastic music. The performances are so like just classic Hollywood. It's
Oh,
amazing.
yes. Yeah.
And there are some really fantastic outfits in it. I'm like, "Yes, girl, those are some really cute shoes." True, that haunted rope seems to be about to string you up, but where'd you get your shoes from?
Nice.
You did not have that thought. I did.
No, I did have this thought. The blood in 1959's House on Haunted Hill was more believable than the blood in Halloween 2, 1981.
Correct.
And this was in black and
Correct.
white.
It had the viscosity of real blood.
Yeah,
Like,
it
it was
yeah,
thick,
it
and
was
I was like,
thick,
"Yes."
dark. Yeah, I was like, that looks like blood.
It doesn't look like a pool of Kool-Aid,
Yeah.
so I was down for it.
All right, let's go over Haunted Hill, House on Haunted Hill, 1999. First,
Okay.
okay. Dun, dun, dun. In 1931, the patients at the Vanacott Psychiatric Institute for the Criminally Insane, sounds like a Batman's opening, revolt with prison riot against the staff, headed by sadistic Dr. Richard B. Vanacott.
Mhm.
Patients start a fire which engulfs the building, killing all of the inmates and all but 5 of Vanacott's staff. Great opening. Not ghost ship great, but it was still a great opening.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a great opening. It gives you a good introduction to the history. It tells the history of the building without really saying anything, and I appreciate that so much. They show you.
Yeah.
They show you the doctors and the nurses doing horrifying things to patients. They show you, like, the staff that doesn't seem to care about the patients.
Yeah, that was a
And
little
the
disconcerting.
yeah, I was like, well, I mean, there was a lot that I was like, "Oh god." Like, it shows you the horror of the people who work there,
Yeah.
and then the revolt, and then everybody getting locked in. And I was like, "Perfect. You told me exactly why this place is haunted in, like, 3 minutes, and I appreciate you so much."
Yeah. And yeah, it was creepy when the night guy got into his little cubicle thing there and started writing a thing, and you saw the one insane person just stand
Yeah.
there. Then all of a sudden, a bunch of them were at the windows and that. Yeah, that was creepy. Yeah, it was a good opening.
It was a great opening, yeah.
And I like the scene introducing Evelyn Price and Stephen Price. Why didn't they just name him Vincent Price? We get to see Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes, he plays the cameraman.
I like the whole amusement park intro, the elevator, the roller coaster with the roller coaster in front of it flying off the rails full of dummies. I'm like, how do they get it back on? I don't know if people listening or watching or whatever remember that opening, but I'm like, you would probably go through a lot of roller coasters by doing that. But anyways, something like that. And so I think of way too much of this, but I'm like, the elevator and the roller coaster, that would only work once. Like, once you've done it, you knew it was a hoax.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
it would scare the shit out of you the first time you did it, but yeah,
I
it's
mean,
kind
yeah,
of a
it
one-trick
would.
pony.
But, I mean, 1, it's for the shock factor, and 2, it's for those people who, like, it's the fall that or the rushing feeling. Like, not necessarily a scare, but it's an adrenaline rush. So they could keep doing it.
Yeah.
But I mean, still, if you have, like, millions of people coming through your amusement park every day.
Yeah, you're bound to get tons of new people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We also get the Unsolved Mystery type show with the same guy, I think, who did Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes.
And on
Him.
the TV, Evelyn is watching when she's taking a bath. And he's talking about the house on Haunted Hill and its past, and then states that it's almost restored back to former condition. And that's when Evelyn gets the idea to hold a party.
Mhm.
In 1999, Evelyn Stockard Price is in a disintegrating marriage with Stephen Price, an amusement park mogul who loves playing tricks. At Evelyn's insistence, Price stages her birthday party at a long abandoned hospital. So Evelyn has like a list of 2 pages long, and Stephen shreds it and makes his own list. And then the ghost of the Haunted Hill hack the computer and erase it and make its own list. Pretty impressive, since we find out later it doesn't even have a fucking phone line in there. The building's owner, Watson Pritchett, is convinced it is evil, having lived there as a child when it was converted into a private residence. I thought Chris Kattan was great.
He's my favorite.
Yeah, again, all acting hovered over or dipped their toes into camp. But it was done well. It was very campy, but done well.
Well, it kind of almost touched on the 1959 one in performance. And I liked that. It was like, we're not the same movie, but we're so similar. Like, it was almost like an homage, and I appreciated that. But also, this is a slightly ridiculous, like, it's a haunted former asylum that became a private house that a ghost invited these people to. You're gonna be campy. You're gonna be silly. It's gonna be a little ridiculous. So, I mean, I was totally down for the little over the top stuff, but I mean, they sold it to me.
Yeah, and it suited the movie fine.
Yeah.
5 guests arrived for the party. Film producer Jennifer Jensen. This was Bridget Wilson, and I was like, where do I know you from? And I was like, Billy Madison.
Ah, yes.
and Mortal Kombat. I'm like, Hot Teacher and Sonya Blade. Yes, I remember you now. Baseball player Eddie Baker. Always liked Ty Diggs or Tay Diggs?
Tay Diggs.
Tay Diggs. I don't like everything he's been in, but he's usually
Mm.
always pretty good when I watch him.
Yeah.
Former television personality Melissa Marr. I don't think, no, she was an executive, was she not? She turns out to be an assistant, but
She turns out to be an assistant, but she declares herself an executive
Yeah.
of production, I think.
Thanks again, Wikipedia. This is Ali Larder, who has been in some of my favorites like Resident Evil and Final Destination. She
Mhm.
was in Heroes, wasn't she? That TV show?
Yes.
What's her power? Do you remember?
Her power was
Is her power like looking hot?
That was not her power.
It was bugging me. I remember the cheerleader's power. I remember the dude who could fly. I remember the Mr. Spock guy. I know he was awesome, and I can't remember what her power was. But that was a
I don't
great
remember
show
either.
for the first season.
For even, I'd give it the second season. Third season, it went completely off the rails.
Yeah, it goes off the rails. Yeah. Physical physician Donald Blackburn, Peter Gallagher. Love that guy, whether he's a good guy, a douche guy, a bad guy. He's great.
He's fantastic.
And Pritchett himself, and Jeffrey Rush and Femke Janssen they're both awesome. Like they've been in so many movies I've seen.
Yes.
Like as a young kid, well, maybe not kid, but younger person. Around this time is when I started watching a lot of their movies, like X-Men was coming and that type of stuff. The guests are not the ones Price invited, and neither of the Prices know who they are. Despite this, Price continues the party's advertised theme, offering $1 million to each guest who remains in the house until morning. Those who flee forfeit their $1 million to the others. So we have Pritchard wanting to get the fuck out of the house. Like that's a red flag.
Yeah, he's like,
he really wants to get out. But then you're like,
about it.
If I was there, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This guy trying to scare us to get us out to not win the money. This guy's acting.
Yeah.
But then you're also thinking, like, is he acting? Like, does he know something I don't know? We have the window above shatter.
Yes.
Now that was the house, right? The house made that fucking shatter.
The house made that shatter, as far as I know.
Yeah. Because we soon find Price's buddy, Perlich, that's his actual last name. I can't remember this character's name, who's doing all the stuff in the background. The guy who complained about the dummy's arm keeps flying off.
Yeah.
And he's there to make the effects and all the scary stuff up. But we don't actually see anything that he was supposed to do. Like everything that we see is ghost related.
Well, I think he was supposed to do things.
Yeah.
But he never got a chance to do things. Because
Like,
his face was eaten.
But that was a little later.
It's a little later that we find out.
Yeah.
So my theory is, because it's never really fully explained, Price thinks that he's doing all the stuff
up. Yeah.
Yeah. He thinks this is all just like part of the plan. But then when he goes to talk to him, he's, super dead. So he's like, oh, that's all right.
Yeah, his power is dying. The building security system is mysteriously tripped, locking everyone inside, a stunt which Price blames on Evelyn. Evelyn and Stephen are at one another's throats, each trying to kill each other. Jennifer, Eddie, and Pritchard search for the basement for the security system's control panel. Actually, Price goes down and says, "Great job setting the security thing." And he's like, "I didn't do it." And then he thinks Evelyn did it somehow. The house thus far, they're in the basement. This house is fucking terrifying.
First thing you see is that
all those
horse
laboratory,
and the man. Yeah, it's super weird.
Where it shows all the insides and stuff. Yeah, and that little person thing there. Yeah,
yeah.
Like, no thanks.
It's super weird.
While exploring the labyrinth basement, Jennifer confesses to Eddie that her real name is Sarah Wolf, the recently fired assistant to the real Jennifer. She impersonated Jennifer, hoping to win the prize money. Shortly after, Sarah is nearly drowned in a tank of blood by a doppelganger impersonating Eddie, but the real Eddie arrives in time to save her. Where the fuck did Eddie go? That'd be my question. You didn't hear me fucking yelling, Eddie?
Well, I figured because here's the thing. Everybody's supposed to be super confused
Mm-hmm.
and not knowing what's going on. So my theory is that there were some ghostly earmuffs put over Eddie's ears.
Yeah, yeah.
So he couldn't hear her calling out. That's my theory.
Melissa subsequently disappears, leaving behind a massive trail of blood and a camera that shows brief footage of what happened to her. Yeah, braver than me trying to get all that footage and stuff there, because every room was terrifying. And she looks like you couldn't see it, but you heard it. Oh, what'd I do? Oh no. I'm all by myself. I will try to get her back. Let's move you out of the way. There we go.
I think my laptop is haunted.
There you go. Yeah, we're doing a haunted house one.
Apparently, because I don't know how settings on the laptop just radically changed. So I just tried typing something in and it cut me off from you guys and then sent me somewhere else. And I don't know what the fuck is going on. So I'm not going to type anything. This whole thing. Go ahead.
Better you than me.
True.
What was I saying? Yeah, we don't see her get killed. They look at the footage.
Yeah.
And you can only hear it because it's only pointing at the one angle. And it sounds terrifying. Like gross.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it
No,
doesn't
it
sound
sounds
like
terrible.
Yeah, it didn't sound like she was having fun.
No.
Price visits his assistant, Schechter, who is supposed to be managing the party stunts, but finds him horribly mutilated. Yeah, that was gross. His whole face was
gross.
Caved in, and it was. Don't get me wrong, it was cool.
Hollowed out.
Yeah, it was hollowed out. It wasn't caved in. It was hollowed out.
Yeah,
like a pumpkin.
that was a bit of a God, because I forgot I was like, oh, he's dead. That was my first thought when Price walks into the room. I'm like, oh, he's dead, and then he turns him around, and I'm like, oh my God, his whole all of it, he's hollowed out.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed that part.
Me
On
too.
the surveillance monitor, Price sees the ghost of Dr. Vanicut walking around with a bloody saw. Evelyn, they catch up to Evelyn, seemingly dies in front of the others, strapped to an electroshock therapy table. And then Price pulls a gun on guests, demanding to know who killed his wife. Eddie knocks him out, and they lock Price in the saturation chamber. Excuse me. For those listening or watching, that was that chamber where the things spin around, the pictures spin around. That they visited all these rooms before this happened. We got to see the electric, and Pritchard would give a little history lesson on what the rooms and what the things were used for. So very clever to set things up and give a little backstory on it.
That's one of the things I appreciate is when you're able to walk people through everything. And you don't have to necessarily it feels natural. I like it when it feels natural when you're setting up everything that's coming. So that when Price ends up in that thing, it makes sense because you saw it before. So you don't need an explanation. You don't need all this expository
this guy's a psycho.
dialogue. Yeah.
Big iron chamber locked from the outside. Yeah, we'll put him in there. And it didn't feel forced. Everything. He was showing them every room, so he was explaining shit to them. Yeah, it made perfect sense. You're right. Like it was natural. And the saturation chamber and archaic zoetrope
Sure.
device that Vanicut used to treat schizophrenics. Blackburn volunteers to guard Price. When the others leave, he turns the chamber on, leaving Price to be tortured by the moving images and ghostly hallucinations. So he's a bad guy. Because up until then, I did remember from the movie, obviously, but he plays a good guy. Like the first time I saw this, I did not expect it.
Yeah.
In Vanicut's office, Sarah and Eddie find a portrait of the hospital's head staff and realize that the party guests are descendants of the 5 survivors of the 1931 fire. Pritchett deduces that the spirits hacked the guest list on Price's computer. The only exception is Blackburn, whose name doesn't appear among the staff. Again, no internet, no cable, no phone line. Very, very resourceful ghosts.
Yes, they know how to maneuver their way through the modern world.
Yeah. Blackburn is revealed as Evelyn's lover. They have faked Evelyn's death, plotting to frame Price for the murders, hoping one of the guests will kill him in self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
This is a stretch in both movies, but I thought 1959 actually did it a little better, surprisingly.
1959 did do it a little bit better, but
Yeah.
with the 1999 one, like we're like, okay, yeah, if he's locking Price in, then obviously he's in on something because he's not doing that for shits and giggles. But when he's touching up on Evelyn's like body when she's still unconscious, I'm like,
well, he is
we
a
don't.
bad guy.
Well, we also don't know that she's unconscious yet, so she really
Yeah.
is dead. So we think
I remember
she's
when
dead.
I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's gross."
I was like, is this gonna be necrophilia?
Yeah.
Ew. And then he wakes her up, and then it's still really gross because I'm like, she was still unconscious, yo. You were just like touching up on her.
Yeah, he was still Bill Cosbying her. Yeah, and the whole thing, like, well, someone's gonna shoot her, and someone's about to, like, it's like they were just rolling the dice and let's see what happens, type of thing.
Yeah.
Evelyn heartlessly kills Blackburn, adding another victim, then releases a delirious Price from the chamber. Yeah, okay. Where am I here? Sorry. Sarah finds Price covered in blood and with Blackburn's severed head nearby. Evelyn has some problems. Like,
yes,
normal people just don't do that. Like, that takes a special type of person.
Evelyn is the ultimate of the gold diggers. She's
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
why do
yeah.
I have to behead someone to get
I'm getting
everything
my
I want?
money.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid. Eddie and Pritchard arrive and bring Sarah upstairs, after which Evelyn approaches Price to gloat. Price, protected by a bulletproof vest and posing dead, attacks Evelyn. Great scene. Jeffrey Rush deserves more Oscars. Not for this, but
No.
this just it's a great over the top scene that
He
he
is
does.
a very, very talented man.
Yeah.
Because even though, like, everything in this movie is extra, it's all extra, but I'm not mad at it.
No.
Because I'm like, hey, this movie is extra and the acting was extra, but it was extra without being too extra. You know what I mean?
They did, yeah, it was just like they knew what they were doing. They were
Yeah.
doing it because they were doing it. It wasn't a result of
Yes.
not being I don't know, not being talented.
No, because you know how there are some
they were all
actors
like, "This is camp. We're gonna do it camp."
We're
So
gonna feel
everybody
it deep in our soul, and we're gonna
Yeah.
share it with all the peoples.
And
And they did that.
Yeah, it wasn't like dinner theater and they're like,
Yeah,
"You
because
gotta be."
sometimes if the actor is not talented enough, if they get a note that it's like, "Okay, we want this just a little camp,"
Yeah,
then they take it too far, and you're just like, "Man, you gone done fucked it up."
Yeah, then it becomes a whole
Yeah.
other thing.
These guys got the note, and they were like, "Just a touch," and it was perfect.
Yeah. And Jeffrey Rush, like, I can't say, like, he's great. I love, like, Pirates of the Caribbean. Johnny Depp made the movie with his Captain Jack Sparrow, but a very, very close second was Captain Barboza, who was just as funny. Anyways, as they scuffle, Evelyn is thrown through a decaying door, revealing the evil entity of the house, the darkness. Great scene as he's like, "Evelyn, get out of here."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Are you doing this?" And he's like, like the fear both of them are acting, portraying it's again, that's where you're getting camp, you're getting real acting. Very well done. Then we see it. The digital cartoon monster. A moving art project from some emo student in high school circa 1999.
Correct.
This was fucking horrible. I did not like this at all. It
felt so out of place.
Yeah, back in the day, I know it was cool. I know when I saw it, like, that,
It was
damn, that's
cooler.
awesome CGI.
Yeah.
Maybe not that great, but
it wasn't
yeah,
that great.
cooler. Yeah.
But it was cooler than,
But today,
no, that
it's
could
not
never
good
fly
at all.
That could never fly today.
Yeah.
Especially like all the cartoon like faces that keep like popping.
Oh,
Like I was just like, oh God.
I was like, this is bad. Who the fuck did this? Because everything else, every other effect in this movie, very well done.
Yeah.
Still holds up today.
You know what? I'll even say this for the darkness. The edges of it were good. Like the outside edges of the darkness, fantastic. It
Yeah.
was when you got to the inside body where the
Yeah.
faces were coming up and that was just it was incongruent
Yeah.
with because the outside was very wispy and very stretchy and it was good. But then the inside became cartoony, like too cartoony.
Too cartoony.
And there was not enough shading on the animation, on the CGI, so it looked very flat, and it was very like, I was like,
Yeah. You could have
that's
had like
yeah.
an actor in black with weird eyes and then put some black stuff behind it moving around would look
Yeah,
better.
like I'm sure there were other
It
ways they could do it,
sounded
but
great.
sounded amazing.
Yeah, the sound was fantastic. Like if you watch it and then as soon as the darkness appears and then you close your eyes and
Yeah.
listen to it, you're like, "Ooh, that's scary."
Yeah, but
Don't
then if
open
you have
your
your eyes
eyes.
open, you're fucked.
Yeah, don't open your eyes because then it's not scary anymore. The shape-shifting entity composed of the spirits in the house consumes Evelyn, killing her and adding her spirit to its mass. Price then discovers Melissa's dismembered body. The darkness turns to Price and tries to add him to its mass. Shortly after, Pritchett is also killed by the darkness. I don't know why, but I love it when people are just pulled or sucked out of frame violently
Same.
and quickly.
Same.
It's just like, ooh. And that's a Conjuring that happens all the time, and Annabelle
Yes.
and all that stuff where kids just get fucking
Love it.
yanked on their beds and stuff. I'm like, oh,
Love it.
great. Take that, you little kid. Where are we here? Yeah, and if you're listening, the darkness itself atrocious. The practical effects, like those floors blowing up when they're running and stuff, it's all great.
Mhm.
While Price flees to the house's attic, followed by Sarah and Eddie, Price opens a window in the attic, then sacrifices himself to give others time to escape. Actually, he pushes Sarah out of the way because first
Yeah.
they get up there and he's like trying to do all the pulley systems to get the one window open. And then it's after Sarah, and then he pushes her out of the way and it gets him. And at this
Mhm.
point, I'm beginning to think Stephen Price was kind of a victim all along, and Evelyn was the only villain. Well, that and the insane people and diabolical doctors and
Yeah. I
sadistic
mean,
nurses.
don't get me wrong. I think Price is also a terrible person.
I'm sure he's a douche, but he never really hurt anybody, and at
Yeah.
the end, he saved someone.
Evelyn was super hardcore.
Mm.
I will be the queen Amazon of all the gold diggers, and I will get all the money, no matter who I have to kill in order to get it, which is a little weird.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Sarah gets out, but the darkness closes an iron gate, trapping Eddie. Eddie, the dumb fuck he is like, Sarah, the rope is being cut. Supernaturally. it's like tickling the rope and the rope's kind of unraveling itself.
Yes.
And he's like, haul ass, and she's doing what every dizzy broad in the situation does, falls, and then starts to consider all her life choices.
That's what and this is really like every character basically when they get to the final 2, 3, sometimes even 4, they all seem to fall because they all seem to have forgotten how to move, how to walk, how
Yeah.
to sit, how to stand. They keep falling over themselves. Like they've lost their sense of balance, and it kind of low key drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I've come to expect it. I've accepted it. I am not happy about it. Just to clarify.
Yeah. And then Eddie does what no man I know would do, runs to help her. Lets her to go first, and then the door slams down.
Yes.
And he's stuck there. First, I would have been yelling at her from the other side of the window. Like, bitch, you better move. I'd haul ass if I were you. Even if I went and got her and picked her up, that is a big F. Once we got to the window and she started to move towards getting out, I'd be like, no, I'm going first. You fell and fucking contemplated your whole life choices over there. I came and got you. I'm going first. Step aside. As the darkness prepares to assimilate Eddie, he reveals that he is adopted and not a true descendant of the original staff. Pritchard's ghost appears and opens the iron gate. So 90s.
So 90s.
So 90s.
His
Even
little
horror
ghost
movies.
self,
Yeah.
like, just shows up.
Yeah, and opens it up for him. The darkness is distracted by Pritchard long enough for Eddie to escape. Pritchard's ghost and the darkness fade away as Sarah and Eddie watch the sun rise. They find an envelope on a ledge containing all 5 checks made out to cash. They are relieved to have escaped and won the money, but are stuck on the roof of the house, unsure how to get down. Let me read this again. The darkness is distracted by Pritchard long enough for Jimmy to escape. Pritchard's ghost and the darkness fade away as Sarah and Jimmy watch the sun rise. They find an envelope on the ledge containing all 5 checks made out to cash. They are relieved to have escaped and won the money as Jimmy says to Sarah, "Hey, what's that over there?" And as Sarah turns to look, Jimmy pushes her off the fucking roof. And then in black and white oh yeah, I forgot about that. I didn't watch that this time. In black and white post-credit scenes, the spirits of the 1931 patients are seen torturing the Prices, presumably doomed to eternal damnation in the afterlife. I forgot that was there. And I would argue I would argue after Stephen saves Sarah at the end, that's kind of unfair, but I remember that being kind of a cool scene. I might have to go back and take a look at that. And that is our movie.
Yes, it is.
What is your score for House on Haunted Hill 1999?
Okay. General score, rent it. It is a cheesy, campy, ridiculous, but fun and entertaining horror movie from the late 90s. Is it a little bit gory? Yes, but not to the level that we're now used to when we say gory. The performances are great. It's a very fun, light movie with a little bit of a thrill to it, but not so much that, like this is something that, people who don't really like, jump scares or scary movies, they could totally watch this and be okay. They won't love it, but they can be okay. If you're a fan of horror movies, I think this is one of your light, fun ones that you watch as like a comfort movie. And I would suggest like a discount buy. Now, I will cop to this because I'm a little embarrassed now. Even though this movie is on Crave and I am a Crave subscriber, I did not realize that. So I just bought it because it was also priced at $4.99.
Yeah, at least you have it now.
I was like, I'm not going to be mad about that. So I watched it and I was like, this is great. And I'm glad I bought it. So, I mean, if you're a fan of cheesy 90s horror, that's a little ridiculous and a little light and very funny, but most importantly, entertaining, this is a buy it for you. But I say across the board, it's a safe bet if you rent it. You will not regret it. It's a good time. It's a fun time. It has horror elements without being disturbing or without being terrifying. And as we mentioned here, there's a happy ending.
Yeah.
What more could you want?
Not Jimmy's version.
Not Jimmy's version, but Jimmy is a bit of a dick. So this movie, though, with Eddie, you end up with a happy ending, and then you feel a little lighter and a little better about it. So, I mean, it's wonderful, good-hearted fun. What's your score?
My score, well, just to comment on what you said about it being on another streaming service. What was I on? I think Prime, and I saw the Leaving Soon, and there were at least 10 movies on there that were on my list to watch, and I'm like,
yeah,
fuck, they're leaving soon. God damn it! I'm not gonna be able to watch 10 movies in 7 days.
Do you know what I just bought today? Lake Placid and The Covenant.
Yeah, I can't find Lake Placid streaming.
Neither can
I. That out when we were talking about doing Lake Placid. I couldn't find it streaming.
For purchase for $7.99, and I was like, solid investment. Let's go. And then The Covenant is one of the worst but funniest teen horror movies ever. And so I wanted it permanently. Anyways, what's your score? Tell me your
score. 1999 House on Haunted Hill was considered too gory and violent and poo-pooed by critics. With its current heavy metal soundtrack and techno beats. Well, they must have been shitting their pants when Saw movies and Hostel and Purge movies started to dominate theaters a few years later, because this movie seemed a little tame from what I remember, but that doesn't mean it's not fun. The acting is over the top and campy, where it sometimes leans heavily into almost soap opera, but that was part of the fun. Most of the effects still hold up. The blood and gore, while here, is not as gruesome as you might remember, and the CGI darkness, while I could swear was pretty good in 1999, did not age very well. In the end, it is a fun movie. It moves at a decent pace. The blood and gore are there, but the finale lacks real bite. With its aged effects, it relied heavily on, and it still suffers from 90s happy ending syndrome. I believe Dark Castle started to move away from this. I know they did with Ghost Ship, but with Pritchard coming back as Casper the friendly ghost to help them, it seems, well, so 90s. That is not always a bad thing, but here it actually hurt the movie a bit. But if you remember liking House on Haunted Hill, rent it. It's worth a rental for something gory, but not terrify gory. And it's a nostalgia trip. I bought it on Prime because it was the price of a rental. So why not? I will watch this again. I buy movies based on if I spend $30, $15, am I going to watch it as much as 3 rentals, 6 rentals, 8 rentals? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I found it for a price of a rental. So, yeah, I will watch this again. Won't be anytime soon, but down the road, definitely.
This is one of my favorite movies. I used to do this all the time. Double feature with The Haunting.
Yeah, I wonder how good, because that has a lot of CGI effects in it too.
Oh my god, I remember it being so incredibly cheesy, but those 2 movies, like these 2 movies paired together so well that I used to do a double feature with them all the time.
Yeah.
And now we're on streaming and I don't know where my DVDs are and it's like a whole thing. I don't even know if I have this one on DVD.
I actually bought The Haunting because it was the same as a rental. I bought I said in the preview, I bought a ton.
haven't
Prime
bought
had
a
the
ton.
horror sale. I bought a shitload.
I think the next on my buy list is probably 13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
Because I remember loving that movie.
I think that was $7.99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to add that to my purchasing.
All right. So that was House on Haunted Hill 1999. Now we move on to House on Haunted Hill 1959. Your initial thoughts?
It is less of a horror, more of a thriller.
Mystery, yeah.
Mystery thriller, suspense. It did definitely feel like a murder mystery as opposed to a horror movie. Especially because everything haunting kind of gets disproven in it. So there isn't anything really supernatural about it. And there isn't really anything, like diabolical about it. It's just a really shitty man doing shitty things.
Yeah.
So that kind of takes away from the magic of it being a horror film. However, up until you find out it's just a shitty man, I liked it. I liked it a lot. It had great ambiance. The performances were very 1940s/50s. Like,
yeah,
the accents on them was amazing. There was
the sound,
the sound,
the soundtrack.
Yeah, the cadence that they had while speaking, like all of that. And at one point, I was like, Vincent Price, that accent, where are you from? And I looked him up, and he's from St. Louis, Missouri. I was like, that, my friend, is not a Missouri accent. Look at you putting that on. I like it. So, I mean, like, there was also Lance was very good looking. Lance was a very attractive actor. Yes.
Yeah, the pilot.
I was into him. The doctor, when I found out that he was having an affair with Annabelle, I was like, ooh, you're being used.
Yeah.
Because you're not as cute as Lance. But I feel like Lance.
She didn't not hit on Lance either.
Oh, she totally hit on Lance.
Yeah.
She did the little hand touch. It was great. The little, pour me, feel for me. Please be careful.
Yeah.
Protect me.
Kill my
she was
husband for me.
kill
What?
my husband for me. No, my husband's gonna try and kill me. I swear.
Yeah.
And he's all like, "Well, I mean, yeah, you're gorgeous. Of course he's gonna kill you." But yeah, no, it was a fun time, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Your initial thoughts?
I love old horror movies. Well, I love old movies in general.
Yeah.
Something magic about them. This was not scary, but like you said, it does have atmosphere. It does have suspense. It is more of a thriller, a mystery thriller.
Mhm.
The blind lady was a bit oddly used. Like, where
Yeah.
the fuck did you come from? If she worked for me, bitch would have black eyes all the time because she would scare the shit out of me, and I wouldn't get charged because I just say it was the rambunctious stable boy. But we can't charge him because he's an orphan and deaf and stupid. No, but it was weird because it made you kind of think there was some supernatural and then quickly became a murder
Yeah.
mystery.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go over this movie. So before this, because it's not here, I am seeing we do get Pritchard talking, his head talking about his brother and sister to the audience.
Floating heads.
Yeah. His brother and his sister-in-law getting hacked to death by his brother's wife. Oh, that'd be his brother's sister-in-law. Sorry.
Yeah.
Then Vincent Price appears as his head floats around and talks to the audience, and he's just naturally creepy in the most awesomest way.
Yeah.
Like, and
There's
this
something about his voice. Something about his voice
is
comforts you
yeah,
and discomforts you at the
at
same
the s-
time.
yeah, yeah. All right. So Frederick Lorne, that's Vincent Price, an eccentric millionaire, invites 5 people to a party he is throwing for his 4th wife, Annabelle. His 4th wife. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's in here. His first wife died mysteriously, and then the next 2 died of a heart
No,
attack.
his first wife disappeared.
Disappeared and never
Then the
found.
next 2 died of heart attacks
In their 20s.
in their 20s.
So you're already like, I think he's the bad guy. He might be the bad. He might be the bad guy.
He might be.
Yeah. Annabelle in an allegedly haunted house. He has. Oh wait a minute. He is throwing a party for his 4th wife Annabelle in an allegedly haunted house he has rented. He promises to give each guest 10,000. Doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm sure you can buy a shitload in 1959.
Honestly, in 1959, that could buy you a very nice house, a car, and you could just not work for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it
So,
would be amazing. Yeah, because I think
Yeah.
we did a Miracle on 34th Street, and we
Yeah.
went through all that stuff where to rent a house downtown New York was like $26 a month or something No, it was
Yeah.
$59. The average price in New York was 26, but to be where they were was
Yeah.
$59. I'm like, what?
Okay, wait. We're totally looking this up. Okay, so $10,000 in 1959 is equivalent in purchasing power to about $108,350.86.
Yeah.
Just so that you have an idea. And houses back then cost like $3,000.
A couple could buy a 2-story detached home. Hold on, sorry. So in New York,
Yeah.
you could buy the median home value in New York in the 1950s was 10,000. So that's New York.
Okay, hold on. So from 1959, because I always find this so interesting. A house, you could get a house.
Cars were 2,200. Yeah, and you're talking about New York. If you go
Well,
middle
this takes place
America,
in LA. This takes place in LA.
yeah,
So it's okay. So prices in 1952. A house is 7,750. Average income is 3,500. A Ford car would cost you between 1,500 and 2,300. Milk, I think for a gallon was like $1.96. Gas
Dude.
was 20 cents.
yeah, it's maddening. Here's something even more maddening for people listening. The house value, say in Ohio here, 1950 was 8,000 for a house, which would be equivalent to buying a house today for 101,000.
That's so nuts.
That's sad. Anyways. Each guest 10,000 with the stipulation that they stay when you go over the prices, when you go over the prices of like gas and food and all that, and we did this with Miracle.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my, what a wonderful time. I know you'd be bored as fuck because there's no internet and shit, but oh my god, you have a lot of nice stuff.
But that's just it. You wouldn't be bored as fuck.
Yeah, if you didn't know
think about it, 1959, you have your little black and white TV. You're not mad about that because that's what everybody else has.
Yeah, you get to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, you go to the library, you go to the movies every week because it's like a dime. Like this is
you're buying meals for 25 cents and
exactly.
You could probably afford a cottage somewhere to go on.
You're taking vacations. You're going to
Acapulco.
Yeah. You're going to Acapulco and Niagara Falls.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, he promises to give each guest 10,000 with the stipulation that they stay the entire night in the house after the doors are locked at midnight. All the windows are barred and there are no phones or radios to use. Actually, they don't even have electricity because they use those little lanterns. Yeah, and even are they lights in the rooms or are they little lanterns?
I honestly didn't really notice, but I did notice that whenever they were in rooms, there was always a candle on a candlestick.
Yeah.
So like they were using candles and just leaving them lit in rooms unattended. And I was like, that is not very fire safe.
Yeah, I was like, one was by a bunch of like twigs and stuff as part of I'm like, that's dangerous. You're gonna burn your fucking house down. The guests are test pilot, sexy Lance Schroeder, newspaper columnist Ruth Bridges, and everyone smokes in this movie and
100%
smokes and drinks hard.
100%.
Like hard.
One of Ruth's first lines is, since our host is not here, which one of you is going to make me a drink?
Yeah, and she wants scotch.
Fuck yeah, she does.
Not a martini, scotch.
But it's so funny because I'm like, look at the good manners. When they're about to take the tour through the house, she stubs out her cigarette.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, you're not supposed to walk through the house with a cigarette.
Yeah. You keep the smoke in one general area because that's how smoke works. Ruth Bridges, psychiatrist, Dr. David Trent, who specializes in hysteria, Nora Manning, who works for one of Lauren's companies, and the house's owner, Watson Pritchard. All are strangers to both the Laurens and each other. Their only commonality being lust for money. And it does a great job setting up the characters, showing you how they are, how they behave. It's very well done. And then the Laurens have a tense relationship. Frederick is convinced Annabelle tried to poison him to acquire his wealth, which Annabelle somewhat evasively denies. That's a great scenes with Annabelle and what's his name there? Frederick.
They have so much contempt for each other.
Yeah.
While still trying to keep it polite.
Yeah, they're like being mean to each other, but trying to be civil.
Mean,
it's 1959.
And it's like, yes, darling.
Yeah.
Of course, you're just like that. You would like that. No, I'm not going to this party. She also opened up the show in the most incredible outfit. And I was like, that's so good.
When she walked down?
When she first
walked out of the
bathroom. And she was just wearing that little like velvet thing I was like, girl, beautiful. And she just gives 0 fucks, but then she gives just enough fucks because she's like, I don't want to die like all of his previous wives.
Yeah. But she also she could leave, but she doesn't want to die, but she doesn't want to live penniless.
Yeah.
She wants the money.
She wants the money.
Because she's like, I earned it.
Correct. Also, I just want to mention this about the house. The house that they use for the exterior, the Ennis house, does not look like the inside of what's in this movie.
That's all stage.
That's all very staged. Like the inside.
And you can kind of tell it's.
Yeah. In the movie, it looks like a Victorian house, whereas Ennis house is very mid-century modern, Frank Lloyd Wright, like beautifulness. So, although I do also love a Victorian house, I'd like to go on the record, but just there's almost an incongruity to that because like you see the outside and then when they walk in, you're like, that doesn't make sense with the outside.
Yeah.
So they do just use it on, like they filmed on a stage.
Yeah. Annabelle somewhat evasively denies, attributing to his suspicions and paranoia and jealousy. Watson believes the house is genuinely haunted by the ghosts of those murdered there. Apparently 7, including his own brother. He claims to have spent one night there before and was almost dead when found the next morning.
Yep.
He gives a tour of the house, including a vat of acid in the basement. Why the fuck would there still be acid in the
That was
that
my I'm
vat?
like, why are you keeping the acid?
And why is everyone so comfortable around big fucking rats, dead or alive? Like he just picks up that trap with that giant rat on
Yeah.
it, and when it drops in and all the flesh stuff and it floats the bones, it's so cheesy.
So
So
cheesy. But that's part of its charm.
yes.
Part of its charm.
Yeah, the acid in the basement, which a previous resident used to kill his wife because she didn't like his wine. I can see that. When Lance and Nora remain behind to further explore the basement, Lance is locked into an empty room and struck on the head while the menacing ghost confronts Nora. This was creepy. This was actually
Yes.
creepy. This weird, terrifying looking woman, old woman with gray hair just jetting out everywhere and the weird eyes.
Yep.
And you're like, that's a little creepy. And yeah. Annabelle privately warns Lance that her husband is scheming something and that she suspects him of murdering his second and third wife after his first wife disappeared. Oh, yeah, right. He disappeared.
Yeah.
The guests learn that the party rules downstairs and each is given a Colt model 1903 pocket hammer for protection. That's a lot of detail. Having encountered further apparitions, Nora decides against staying the night.
Mm-hmm.
But the caretakers, who never leave before 12, lock the doors 5 minutes early.
Yep.
Taking that option out of the guests' hands.
Also, can we talk about how we find out that the crazy ghost, the old woman, is one of the caretakers?
Yeah, because she also sees her in that room, just standing there, going like this.
Yeah,
weird,
which was super weird. And then she glides away.
Yes, for those listening, that she's in a room by herself and she's got a candle and she turns and this old lady is just standing there, but she's got her
hands up
like
in like claw
claws.
motions.
Yeah. And she has this terrifying look on her face. And
her
teeth
mouth
are all
is
gnarly.
open in like a silent scream. And you're just
Yeah.
like, what the? And then she glides past. She was definitely on a dolly, 100%. So she glides past her. But then we find out afterwards that
it's a caretaker.
Her and her husband are the caretakers of the property. And I'm like, what is she caretaking? People's heart attacks?
I would have screamed.
Yeah.
If I saw that turned around. That's what I mean. I'd punch her in the face just on instinct. But yeah, and that's where there's a little bit of a like, why is she floating? And why did she just go forward and then float back? Whatever.
That was one of my big plot holes where I'm like, that don't make no sense.
No, none at all.
None.
Lance and David find Annabelle's corpse. Oops. Suspended to suggest she hanged herself, but the absence of a perch immediately arouses suspicion of murder. Nora confronts Lance and tells him an unseen assailant strangled her and left her for dead. In light of Annabelle's warnings, they both suspect Frederick. He tells her to remain out of sight so that her attacker will think she's dead. Still dead. Lance and David propose that everyone stay in their rooms and shoot anyone who enters to survive the night. Sounds like something I would come up with.
It really does. It really does.
Thus, the innocents will have no reason to leave the room and a good reason to stay inside them. And the killer must stay put or admit guilt. And everyone leaves their fucking room, I think, except for the reporter.
Yeah, everybody is just roaming around the house. And also, the rooms are connected.
Yeah, they're all connected too.
Because at one point, Lance is in his room. Then he goes through a door to like Nora's room. And then he's like, okay, you lock your door. So she locks her door that goes out to the hallway with the deadbolt. But I'm like, did you lock the door that connects to Lance's room, which is the room that he didn't lock? What? You're still not safe.
No,
it was
not
like
at
a
all.
whole thing.
Yeah. Nora is chased from her room into the basement by Annabelle's ghost. This is where Annabelle, and if they're locked out inside and can't get out, how did she appear outside the fucking window?
Another plot hole.
Yeah,
Because then
where the
that's
rope.
also where the ghostly rope comes through the window.
And I'm like, how would you do that?
Right? When they were like, oh yeah, appearing outside the window was such a great idea. I'm like, how the fuck?
Like, are you using mirrors and shit here? There was no
Yeah,
explanation of
but
any of this.
okay, the image of her, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe that could have been like configured. How the fuck did the rope move?
Yeah, that it not only moved, came in and wrapped
Came
itself
in
around her
through the
legs,
window,
feet.
yeah, went around her feet and then pulls back out.
Yeah,
She was wearing
yeah,
a tutu,
across
though.
the floor.
Yeah.
So
It was a very like, what?
very inventive people here, like very creative.
Yes.
Aroused by ghostly sounds, David concludes that the killer is about and proposes he and Frederick split up to search the house. Yeah, because even Frederick's like, why don't we go together? And he's like, we cover more if we're split up.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, okay. Lance uncovers a secret room at the end of the second floor hall, but the door shuts behind him once he enters, trapping him. David instead meets with Annabelle, who had faked her death using a hanging harness and sedatives. Secretly lovers, the two of them have orchestrated the various mishaps to manipulate Nora into killing Frederick. Yeah, Nora, yeah, poor Nora here is being
She's been
manipulated.
tortured all night.
Yeah,
Like
screaming. Oh my God, could she scream?
God. She has the most perfect horror movie shriek.
Yeah, my 7-year-old came out of the room down the hall and came down and told me to watch something else. Because she didn't want to hear the screaming anymore.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Nora, seeing Frederick enter the basement with a gun in his hand, does indeed shoot him. After she flees, David slips to dispose of Frederick's body into the vat of acid, and the lights go out. Annabelle walks to the basement to confirm, her husband is dead. A skeleton rises from the acid, accuses her in Frederick's voice, and shoves her into the vat. Frederick emerges from the shadows, holding the puppeteer controls unit that he used to manipulate the skeleton, and revealing he had known their plot all along. This looked very cheap when it was talking to her and following her around.
Yes, 100%.
Pushed in. But when he came out with that, I'm like, how the fuck is that contraption controlling that skeleton like that? All you're doing is turning two wheels.
Correct.
And now and then, of course, so the audience can see the strings. I'm like, how the fuck could she not see those strings? Is it 1959? You just didn't put two and two together?
She probably just didn't make it to her eye doctor in time.
And this is part of the fun of the movie. It's so
Yes.
cheesy. But it is fun cheese. Yeah. After Nora, Watson, and Ruth release Lance from the secret room, Nora tells him that she shot Frederick. When they arrive in the cellar, Frederick explains that he loaded her gun with blanks, that his wife and David plotted to kill him, and that they both met their ends in the vat of acid. He says he's ready for justice to decide if he's innocent or guilty. Watson remains convinced the house is haunted, with David and Annabelle now added to its ranks of ghosts, and that he will be the next victim. And that is our 1959 movie.
Mm-hmm.
Your score.
Okay. If you were a fan of older movies, this is a definite rent it. If you are not a fan of older movies, I say stream it. Because here's the thing. This is still fun. It's still a little ridiculous. It is still... It's a little campy. It's a little silly. Okay, it's a lot silly. It's a little ridiculous. But it's good fun, and it keeps you entertained. And the soundtrack alone, worth it.
Oh, yeah.
So I think if you should give it a shot. Just watch it. Stream it if you can. It's streaming on multiple platforms right now, like lots of different channels.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
a lot. Yeah,
it's a great watch. A lot of fun. If you're a fan of older movies, definitely worth a rent or even a discounted purchase. But you really have to be a fan of older movies. If you're not a fan of older movies, you won't be able to appreciate this at all. But I do think it's something that a lot of people should watch, just so you can see what movies were like in the 1950s.
Yeah, because
it is a really great example of what the acting was like, what the dialogue was like, how they used to light these things. Like, it's such a good movie. It's just not the greatest written, like, plot-wise movie. Like, that's huge plot holes, like, as
Yeah,
big as the Grand Canyon.
they were pretty big.
It's ginormous, but it's entertaining. You're entertained through the whole movie. You're engaged with it. Like, even if you do the, "How did they get there?" Like, "Where did she come from?" You're in it, and you're paying attention, and it's still entertaining, and it's still good fun. So I say stream it for the general public, and if you're a fan of older movies, like classic movies, definitely rent it, possible buy at a discount. I would not pay $20 for this.
No.
However, if it came up and it was like $10, I'd be in.
Yeah. I think the DVD, they have it now in color. I'm kind of curious what that would be like, but I think you can buy it for like $10 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like my score, what was the one review? Like, it's as scary as a sock puppet,
Correct.
but it is fun to watch. That pretty much sums it up. Well acted. It is atmospheric. It is suspenseful.
Mhm.
And if you find this movie nostalgic, good for you. You're still alive. No, I say rent it as well. That's where I would put it, but it is streaming everywhere.
Yeah.
It's on like 5 or 6 different, and I think that'll be the case forever. Like, it's something, and every once in a while when I see it, I will probably watch it
Yeah.
once in a while. Yeah, it's a fun old movie. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a good time.
it is a good
It's a good
time.
time. I'm
All
kinda
right.
disappointed though, because both House on Haunted Hills were a good time,
But not
but not
scary.
scary.
Yeah, this Halloween run sucked.
Yeah.
It was
I'm
really
totally
bad.
gonna watch a scary movie tonight just to be scared. Maybe I'll watch The
Yeah.
Conjuring.
Yeah, that's pretty creepy. I
Yeah.
just watched that like last year for the first time.
Oh, really?
I never watched them. I bought that set, and so I've watched 2 of those ones, an Annabelle, but I haven't watched the Nun or a second Annabelle and a third Conjuring. I still got a few to go. They're all creepy. They
No,
are.
they all terrify me, and I
Yeah,
love them.
yeah.
I still haven't watched The Nun 2.
No, I haven't seen that yet. I
I
haven't seen
haven't
Nun
seen that.
1 either.
Honestly, The Nun was so good.
Yeah, I'm
So
gonna.
good. But
Yeah,
the first time I put off watching The Conjuring, and then I finally watched it, and I was like, "Where have you been all my life?"
yeah.
And then I binged the crap out of them, and then I was like, "Wait, I gotta wait for more?" Yeah.
Now I do apologize. I have been deathly ill this week. I have no trivia, nothing.
It's okay.
I wasn't feeling that great. I'm just hopped up on medicine. I feel great now. Just
I'm sure.
just popped a bunch of pills like Roger Ramjet, and I'm ready to go.
You're like, "This is great."
Yeah. What are we talking about? Let's talk about other movies. Yeah. So, anything else you want to add about the House on Haunted Hill 99 or 59?
Not really, although I did see the sequel to House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah, I bought it too.
I haven't
On
bought that
Prime
one
for
yet.
$4.99 or something like that.
I haven't bought
Yeah,
that one yet,
I
but
spent like $140 on like $5 movies.
dude, well, I mean, good value for your money, but
Well, I got a whole
still.
bunch of movies
Yeah,
and the horror
true.
movies. And there were movies that I am starting to actually buy movies again because I
Mhm.
am looking to get into 4K and movies that you can't stream.
Yeah.
But these were movies that I double checked, like Jason X or Freddy Goes to Hell, and those
Yeah.
ones were $5, and they're like $30-$40 because they're out of print on Amazon
Gotcha.
or eBay, and I'm not paying $40 for
No.
Jason X. I'll pay $5 for Jason X.
I
But
love Jason X,
it's
but it's
so
like,
cheesy. Like
yeah, it's the
cheese.
cheesiest.
Yeah.
It is the cheesiest, but I love it. I love
Yeah.
it so
We should do a
much.
double feature of Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X 9 and 10.
Yes.
Because they're both really fucking cheesy.
Yes.
But
Actually,
great cheesy. As
I
far as
used
I remember, it's been a while.
well, I mean, yeah, no, it's been a little bit. I think the last one was it that one? I don't know. Anyways, it's been a few years at least since I've seen Jason X.
Yeah.
And it's funny because
Jason Goes to Hell a little longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's way longer for me.
Yeah.
But Jason X, that's the one in space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of my favorites. I used to work with someone who, in the opening scene, the two girls that are camping.
Yep.
I used to work with one of the girls at a bar that I used to work at.
Oh, you said that, yeah.
Yeah. And when she told us about it, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then when I watched the movie, I was like, oh God, now I've seen your titties.
Yeah.
This makes me very uncomfortable.
Well, better you than me, because that would have made it very uncomfortable for her.
Correct.
Why is he
Correct.
staring at me?
And then I would have had to be like, God damn it, stop staring.
Yeah.
But I love Jason X. And there was a while there where it was on TV and I watched it every single time it was on.
I went to the theater and watched it.
God bless. I am not that person.
Man, it was amazing. Amazingly bad and so good. Yeah, we should actually do that maybe in what's January, February.
Yeah.
Do a double. I was gonna say we should do it next, but I think we're coming into Christmas now.
We're coming into Christmas. I think we've got a couple non-Christmas movies, and then we're hitting Christmas hard.
We have three non-Christmas movies, and then Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And coming up, which I'm very excited about, as everybody else should be, our election movie.
Yeah,
because
Idiocracy.
the U.S. election is on Tuesday.
Yeah, it's on Tuesday, and then Friday we'll celebrate because whoever vote you for you're an idiot. It's all Idiocracy. No one's a winner.
Who do you think
no one's a winner?
No, there is a very clear winner because one will start a civil war.
Trump. I think he'll start a civil war if he loses.
Well, he'll start a civil war if he wins or loses. Either way, he's starting.
Either way, everyone's fucked.
Oh God,
that's gonna be. I'm so interested. I can't wait till Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I'm actually really looking forward to this movie because after we see the preview and stuff, I'm super excited.
I think it'll be great.
That was House on Haunted Hills. Next week is Idiocracy on Friday, live at 7:00. Thank you for coming back to 1959 and 1999 for joining us for looking at and then reviewing House on Haunted Hill and House on Haunted Hill. And until the next movie we remember liking, which is Idiocracy next week.
Correct.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.